Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. All members are present. Approval of the agenda. We need to remove 6B, Park Board Report. And then we have 7I, accept resignation and approve appointment of EMTs. And 7J, approve resolution 2020-73, appointing members to the Joint Airport Zoning Board. Is there any other council? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with those three changes?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approval of the minutes of the August 19th, 2020 regular meeting. You've all received them in your packet. Is there any changes, corrections, or clarification on anything that you see in there? If not, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the August 19th, 2020 regular meeting?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. We're now at our public open forum. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council?
Hello, and my name is Stacy Michaels, and I live at 613 Lakeshore Drive. The reason for my attendance is we are on number 7C on your docket for this evening. And I just wanted to take a moment regarding the variance that we have applied for and some of the information we shared at the planning and zoning meeting. Based on the pie shape of our lot and the setbacks, we were requesting a 20-foot variance instead of a 30-foot setback. And some of the major factors were the fact that, one, the shape of the lot, it drops off greatly the further back you go, causing a lot steeper grade to the lake. And also, once we do that, it would block a neighboring home's windows, bedroom windows. So the only thing they'd see looking out their windows would be our garage.
Okay,
So-
Stacy, I don't want to interrupt, but we had the public hearing and everything already at the planning commission.
Okay.
So basically, any other statements now are,
Just making sure if there's any questions, I can address those.
right, okay. We'll get to that when we get to the action, if there is any.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the council? Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the council? Seeing no one, our public open forum is closed. Public hearings, we have none. Reports and presentations, city engineer, Keith.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. The 2020 project is coming to a close rapidly. Hopefully you've got a chance maybe to drive through the Elm Street South portion, and as of today, all of the black dirt is in and shaped up, and pretty much just the seeding, which is scheduled for maybe Friday or Tuesday of next week, if weather permitting. So that portion will be just about wrapped up, other than there's a couple little tie-ins, some paving and a couple little things down there. But it looks pretty good, I think, and hopefully you think so as well if you've been through there. The north part, we expect curbing to go in there on Friday and into Tuesday. So the curb should all be in, and we'll start getting the sidewalk after that and get ready for paving. And that we'd expect there probably 3 more weeks, and then that portion will pretty much be done just like the southern one. So probably 3 more weeks and we should be complete. And I think that one's looking pretty good as well. So if there's any questions you might have of me.
Okay, have you been in contact with the bus garage as far as whether or not next Tuesday they're gonna be able to go through on that road?
We'll make sure we contact them yet this week. They should be able to go through, we'll just make sure that, depends on the construction activity kind of things, but usually in the morning, it should be fine, but there's nothing that prohibits them other than if there's too much activity going on in the road at the time.
Because I know from past experience that there's at least, I think, 8 students that get picked up right on that corner
Okay,
of Lake, and then there's another one halfway up toward when you're going north
up the road.
that picks
Okay.
up a couple more
Okay.
in there. I don't know if that's changed since I drove, but
We will make sure we get in touch with the bus garage and have that taken care of, and whether they can get through or whether they want to send them up to the corner, I guess that'll be kind of up to them, their call, so.
right, so, okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I had one question there. When they lay these, the concrete for the driveway aprons, how long before they can drive on that cement?
Usually we don't want them to be on for at least 5 days. Ideally 7 days, but
Okay,
no
that's what I
more-
thought.
no less than 5 days.
Okay, thank you, Keith.
Yep.
Looks great.
Okay,
Any other questions? Thank you.
thank you.
EDA board report. Vicki?
So the EDA met in regular session today. They welcomed their new member, Brent Leeser. He represents the chamber after the resignation of B.J. Welly. They reviewed a proposed office to purchase a portion of the Unger property. That's the 59-acre parcel we have south of town. The request is for 10 acres. We also talked a little bit about the Sauk Center Opportunities Project in the industrial park, but we're not real far down the road with that yet, so that'll come at another meeting. And they also received the update on the CARES Act Small Business Grant Program, and I'll have an update for you on that later in the meeting.
Okay. Questions? Comments? Okay, we'll move on to action items. 7A, approve resolution 2020-67, calling hearing on final assessment.
And this is related to the 2020 improvement project that Keith Yap was just addressing. With that project wrapping up, we should select the date to hold the final assessment hearing on the project. I'm recommending October 7th. That gives us 5 weeks here where we can have the timing needed to advertise and notice the property owners of the assessment. So I have included in your packet Resolution 2020-67 calling for the hearing on the final assessment. I have it set for October 7th. If you want a separate date, just state that in your resolution or in your motion.
Okay. October 7th, that week I will be out of town. So,
You'll be lucky.
so as long as the other council members know, so we have a quorum for that night.
That's fine, I'll be there.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so October 7th. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2020-67, calling the hearing on final assessments for October 7th, 2020?
So moved.
Motion by Heidi, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7B, approve resolution 2020-68, calling hearing on special assessments for unpaid utilities and service bills.
So each year about this time, we review the outstanding invoices. It's for both public utilities and then our service payments, things like mowing and snow plowing and those types of things. And these unpaid invoices, we have the opportunity to certify them for collection with property taxes. I do have the listing prepared that you will be given in advance of the next meeting. Prior to that certification, however, the owners are afforded the opportunity to attend a public hearing on that and to dispute it or agree with it or pay it early or whatever. So I'm recommending October 7th as well to be the public hearing for that. And that way that'll give us the time after that to give them an opportunity to pay it prior to us certifying it to the county on November 15th. So I'm looking for resolution 2020-68, calling the hearing on assessments for the unpaid city and utility service charges.
Questions? Comments? Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2020-68?
So moved.
Motion by Keith, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7C, approve resolution 2020-69, recognizing infants remembered in Silence Day.
Okay, so Infants Remembered in Silence Incorporated, it's IRIS, is a nonprofit organization, is requesting that the city adopt a resolution endorsing October 15th as Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. IRIS works with thousands of people who have experienced the death of a child during pregnancy through early childhood. Bereaved parents actually remember these children with a 7 p.m. candle lighting on October 15th. This initially goes back to Ronald Reagan when this was first declared. And I did include a little bit of information from that nonprofit, and as you know, we have a nonprofit in town that is very similar to this. And so they also recognize the Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day on the 15th. So Resolution 2020-69 officially declares October 15th as Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day.
Comments, questions? Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2020-69?
Motion to approve.
I'll
Motion by
second.
Heidi, second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7D, approve resolution 2020-70, authorizing minor subdivision.
John Arns, on behalf of John Meyer, has submitted an application for a minor subdivision. This request is to divide a portion of the Myers property and consolidate or combine it with his adjacent property. It's located off Park Rise Street, which is an undeveloped right-of-way off Hickman Drive. As shown on the survey is attached in your packet as well as the application. Myers is the owner of the larger tract, and Arns is proposing to purchase that piece of it. Since I did the packet, the size of the lot, the property line moved down 10 feet, so it's a little bit different than is shown in your packet. Park Rise Street is undeveloped, and we have no immediate plans to install or build the roadway with related utilities until a plat or development of the larger tract is anticipated. And if Mr. Arns has the expectation to access the property from Park Rise Street, the cost of any temporary improvements would be the responsibility of him as a user. There's not a proposal in here for the city to build the road at this time. You do have the packet, the application in your packet, a resolution, and a copy of the certificate of survey. As I said, that has changed slightly, and I did change the new resolution to reflect the new legal description. So we're looking to approve Resolution 2020-70, approving that minor subdivision.
Questions, concerns? Do you think Mr. Arns would ask for an eventual easement to get up that road to his place? Or,
Well, do I have a concern with him having an
Yeah.
easement? I think the only issue that we would have is whether the road was, the easement or however he would put that in would, not interfere too much with the neighboring properties. Right now, they maintain it. So, but the road then doesn't go all the way to his property. It
Right.
ends there, so he would have to have easement also from Myers to get across that last piece.
okay. So that'd be between him and Myers and not anything we should have to be concerned with.
Right.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions or concerns? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2020-71 approving 70, authorizing the minor subdivision?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Now, 7E, approve resolution 2020-71 approving a variance. Michaels.
On August 18th, the Planning Commission, acting as the Board of Adjustment, conducted a public hearing to consider the application of Walter and Stacy Michaels for a variance from the road right-of-way to construct a detached accessory building. The property is located at 613 Lakeshore Drive and is zoned R1 residential. I did put an aerial view in your packet, and the red arrow shows the building that's going to come down. The property currently has a 10 by 20 detached garage. It's identified as a shed on the survey, located 20 feet from the road right-of-way. The request is to replace the 10 by 20 with a 28 by 42 detached garage located at the same setback. The current city code does require a 30-foot setback. The staff report presented to the Board of Adjustment states that granting of the variance would allow the owners to avoid moving the garage further back where the lot slopes toward the lake, and less ground disturbance and fill would be required. It also states moving further back would block the neighbor's view. The application states that reasonable use of the property would be deprived if the variance was not granted because it would limit the size of the garage that could be built, would block windows of the main living space, and would cause possible issues with runoff to lakeshore. No specific practical difficulty or hardship was stated. However, reference was made to a large amount of fill and block work would be needed if the garage were pushed further back, causing more land disturbance and potential runoff. Members of the Board of Adjustment were sympathetic to the neighbor and the potential impact of their view were the garage to be moved further back from the road. One letter was received in opposition to the proposal, stating no hardship would occur if the ordinance that requires a 30-foot setback was followed, citing the concern that it would set a precedent for future requests. The board recommended the approval of the variance by a 3-2 vote, and I did include in your packet the application which states the things that I just covered with you, and then also a copy of the certificate of survey showing the existing shed to be removed and then the new detached garage. I have Resolution 2020-71 approving the variance request for Walter Meyer Grills if you choose to approve.
Questions, comments, concerns?
I had a question just regarding the letter of opposition, if it was from, or if you can state whether it was from the neighbor that is cited as possibly obstructing their view, or would this be pushed out to the 30-foot setback?
This is a different neighbor.
Okay.
The different neighbor was in opposition,
Okay,
and he was in the neighborhood, but not an adjacent landowner. He was more concerned with setting a precedent for anything future.
sure.
Okay. Any other questions?
Is the height remaining the same?
Is the height going to be the same?
Yeah,
No, the height will be taller simply because of the fact of the width is a lot higher. You're going to have higher garage.
okay, and that's within the city,
You can actually have a 25-foot garage.
okay,
So they're well within that requirement.
okay, okay, thank you.
Where is the hardship?
I think the backfill is what they're talking about.
They were concerned with the slope to the
Excavation.
lake and the increased potential runoff if it were to, if they were to move it another 10 feet back.
Is this going to increase the runoff then, or if they move it back, it shouldn't?
Well, the further back you go, the more you're going to disturb, and then the closer you're going to be to the lake.
It could possibly increase it too, just because of the size of the building. You know, it's covering, it's not pervious.
Right, well, what Diane's talking about is increasing, as I would assume then you would have more impervious on the entire lot, simply because behind the garage right now would probably become grass area, where if it were moved back, that
Right.
would be garage, and there'd be probably concrete or pavement on the front side.
Yeah, but
So
you're.
overall, you would have more impervious the further you move it back, simply because you'll have a bigger driveway.
Yeah. But I agree, I think it'd be worse if you moved it back myself. Be a lot more fill, and who's to say the fill isn't gonna roll into the water too?
I'll just state in my case, I voted against it as a in the planning commission, mainly because I didn't see a hardship. Moving it back 10 feet you have to raise up the back of the back concrete wall up a couple more courses and haul in some fill. Is it a hardship to increase runoff? You're increasing the size of the building.
That's it.
You're doubling it. So, and as far as a driveway, if you're back 10 more feet, that isn't going to, you're gonna have more impervious, but I highly doubt that the driveway is gonna be sloped toward the garage, so any water on the driveway is gonna run in the garage. It's gonna be sloped toward the street, where it's gonna run another direction. Depends on which way they lay it out, so I don't know if actually the driveway was going to be causing an increase in runoff that way either. So I voted against it. That's my case, basically because I couldn't see a hardship. But in this case, it's, you know where I stand, but it's up to the council. Is there any other questions or comments?
As far as the structure size, obviously, we're looking a little bit oversized garage, so 2-stall garage with bonus space, or what's the plan for the structure
I
itself?
believe, I don't know if there's gonna be a workshop in there or something, yeah?
You want an answer?
So, but the other thing that was in there too, what they had in it, when you talk about the use and enjoyment of the neighbors, I think that it was a couple of members of the planning commission were very sympathetic to the neighbor worrying about blocking their view when they look across the lot. And so they kind of had gave a little bit of weight to that use and enjoyment of neighbors in the immediate vicinity, is they wanted it forward versus back.
Well, I see that being set back more, but as far as the structure size.
As far as the structure size, that was the size they applied for, and it's a detached accessory structure, so.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It would be garage
doesn't
space and workshop
necessarily mean
space.
what's gonna be in it. We don't have any control on that.
I guess I wasn't looking to control that, I'm just trying to get their concept of why they're looking at that structure, why we couldn't be back 10 more feet and then shrink the building potentially too, from their
And the
standpoint.
20-foot setback is from 1949, when that original one that's gonna get tore down. A lot of things have changed. That's the reason why it's a 30-foot setback now. So,
And I don't know that really the discussion was had to make the building shorter and meet the setback at the planning commission. I don't think that came up, did it? They just reacted to the application
Right.
that they received.
right.
Rather than trying to massage it, we just react to what's received as an application.
I guess where I worry about this is if we approve this, is this going to set a precedent for the next person? And then they'll say, well, you granted it for them, what about us? We want the same thing. Then you may as well throw the ordinances out.
Well, I think that's why they stated the things that they did about the increased fill and potential runoff and the neighbor's view, trying to make this perhaps a little bit different than maybe some others do that maybe have a level lot or not a neighbor that they're going to block. So they had a few things in there that would support granting it.
I think too, where I can be sympathetic with the planning commission who were, I guess, sympathetic for the neighbor owner, that what possible future impact could this cause to value to their house. If you're looking out a window and that's what you see is future buyers of whatever's, down the road for that property.
Any other comments, questions?
Has there ever been an instance of, being that there's an existing structure there that met the setbacks at that time, that we faced this with someone else requesting a variance to be within the 30 feet that's been approved? You know that?
Have we done that before, you're asking me?
Potentially, I don't know when it comes up, but.
Typically, when you take down a structure, the new structure has to comply, unless you have some type of practical difficulty why we can't. Typically, people comply when they can, simply because they don't want to go through this process. So we don't see a lot of that. We're seeing more to do with structure size variances, I think, than we are setback variances. And a lot of people want to have a little bit more driveway because their vehicles are bigger, and if we ever put a sidewalk in, is that going to impact and that type of thing. So we don't see a lot of them trying to come short to the road. They just want to be away from the road. This one's a little unique that way.
Okay, any other comments or questions? What's the council's wishes on resolution 2020-71? I need a motion.
I guess my thought is, I get that they're requesting the limited setback. I understand the concerns of the potential for a precedent. The fact that I guess I don't have as much concern with the setting a precedent of not following the variance or the setback requirements of 30 feet with this structure, being that there's an existing structure there. I think if somebody else like myself will come up and ask to put something at 20 feet that's not existing, then I could see it being more of an issue if we were approving that for somebody else. But being that the structure is there at 20 feet, I'd make a motion to approve the variance.
Okay, we have a motion by Joe. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We have a second by Heidi. We have a motion and a second to approve the variance. Is there any other discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is defeated. 2 in favor, 3 against. Does anyone else want? That's pretty much the end of that, I guess.
So Keith voted no?
I voted no.
Okay.
Keith voted no.
Wasn't sure if that was.
Okay, 7F, approved resolution 2020-72, approving purchase of vehicle.
You had an updated staff report with that, where we had all the final numbers came in. But on August 19th, the City Council adopted a resolution authorizing the solicitation of quotes for the proposed purchase of a public works vehicle. Quotes were obtained through fleet management for both 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive options with extended cabs and 4 doors. So you have a little bit of combination. I did put in your packet the 2-wheel drive extended cab as a group, the 2-wheel drive 4-door as a group, the 4-wheel drive extended cab as a group, and the 4-wheel drive 4-door as a group, so you can see what each of the bids were. The Public Works Supervisor Van Click is recommending we purchase the Dodge 4-wheel drive extended cab model from Don Welly Southtown for $25,500. He felt the cost to advance from a 2-wheel drive to a 4-wheel drive was minimal, and the 4-wheel drive is often needed. So if you can see, that's in the 3rd group down, and that is the low bid on the 4-wheel drive extended cab option. If you choose not to go with the 4-wheel drive extended cab option, then the next lower bid would be the 2-wheel drive extended cab option, also from Dan Welly Southtown.
Okay. Questions, comments?
I like the 4-wheel drive.
What year is the vehicle? It doesn't have any years on here.
Oh, these will be a 2020, I believe these are left over from 2020.
Okay.
Of course, when you go to order it, then all of a sudden it's, you never know for
Right.
sure.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was,
But I think you had till October 1st, you could still pick up a 2020
okay.
without, so they would be the price would not increase.
Any questions, comments? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to approve resolution 2020-72, accepting the proposal from Dan Welly Southtown.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Keith, second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7G, accept resignation of Center Care Sauk Center Board member.
So Jody Lavoie, she's submitted her resignation from the Centra Care Sauk Center Board. Lavoie has accepted a position at Centra Care in Melrose, and as such is no longer eligible to serve on Sauk Center's board. So we're requesting to accept the resignation of Jody Lavoie from Centra Care Sauk Center Board.
Do I have a motion to accept her resignation?
Motion to accept.
Motion from Joe. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
that.
Second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approve appointment of Center Care Sauk Center Board member.
So with the resignation of Jody Lavoie from the Centra Care Board, the board has nominated a replacement to fill her remaining term. They're nominating Neil Linscheid to fill the expiring term, or the term expiring December 31st, 2021.
Okay, any questions, comments? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve the appointment?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7I, accept resignation and approve appointments of EMTs.
So Amy Goodwin has submitted her resignation from the Sauk Center Ambulance Service effective August 27th, 2020. And so Ambulance Director Kathy Struford is recommending that No Zamora be appointed as a probationary EMT to replace that position contingent upon a favorable background check being completed. So that is the request for you to accept the resignation of Amy Goodwin and approve the appointment of No Zamora as a probationary EMT.
Questions, comments? Do I have a motion to accept the resignation of Amy Goodwin and approve the appointment of Noah Zamora?
So moved.
Motion by Diane, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7J, approve resolution 2020-73, appointing members to the Joint Airport Zoning Board.
So the city previously appointed 2 members to the Joint Airport Zoning Board. The board has met and will have additional meetings regarding the updating the zoning ordinance. One member, who is Mike Bouchard, has expressed interest in stepping down from the board. And so the council can appoint a new member if they wish. I do have resolution 2020-73 in front of you appointing a member to the board. Warren Stone has been at the meetings and he's agreed to step in and fill that position unless one of you wishes to volunteer for that. So I guess the request is to approve resolution 2020-73, appointing members to the Joint Airport Zoning Board.
Comments, questions? Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion from Diane, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Keith. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, aye. Motion carries 4 in favor, none against, 1 abstention. Unfinished business, CARES grants to small businesses.
So applications have been coming in for the CARES Act grants through the city's program and also online through the Stearns County portal. So I've been given access to log into Stearns County to pull any applications that are in the city limits from that portal. So if anybody applied that way, I get those as well as the paper copy. Stearns County, as well as those of us cities that are administering our own programs, we meet. We've been meeting weekly via WebEx meeting just to make sure we're kind of all on the same page. The county board last week extended their deadline to September 18th. Ours was originally today, September 2nd. They also raised the cap on the eligible grant amount to $15,000 versus the $7,500. And so we may want to consider following suit. I would recommend at a minimum to extend the deadline to September 18th. I'm still getting a lot of questions and people coming in at the last minute, and I'd rather have them a little more time to be more complete rather than having to go back to them for more information. If you wish to raise the limit, I don't know if 15,000 is a good number for us based on the applications I've been getting. They're anywhere from $3,500 to $11,000. So some people went over the 7,500 in hopes that we would have additional fundings. Others just got to 7,500 and quit. So if we were to raise it, I'd want to get back to them to see if they had any additional receipts that they could submit. So I guess once we get all the applications in and go in, we'll see how much money we have to pass around. But I don't know if you would want to at this time extend the deadline and raise the limit. I guess that would be my recommendation if your intent is to do that, rather than having to wait for another meeting to do that. Questions, concerns?
I think based on the number of applications that have come in or are in queue to come in, and the amounts that we capped it at already, but seeing what the actuality of it is for some businesses, I'd like to see it move up, just bump it up. I don't know if it has to be 15,000, but I'd like to do something better than the 75. Maybe 10, some are meeting in the middle, 12, I'm not sure.
Any other comments?
I guess my thought is if, the county's done it and some other municipalities have, to follow suit, go up to that 15,000, and based on the applications that come in, the volume, every business is gonna be a little bit different based on the level of expenses they had to operate during the pandemic here. So, we have it up there, and if we get more applications that exceed that, we'll just need to look at it based on percentages and stuff like that for what we can award at the end of the day, so.
Because even if we raise the limits to help the businesses out, doesn't mean we're gonna be able to hand it out if we get an influx of more applications. It
And they
could
have to be eligible expenses for that to reimburse, so I mean,
Right.
they can't just.
You know, they have to
get
have
15,000.
Right.
Have to have receipts and everything else. because-
Vicki, you had mentioned that you got back to the businesses that just went at 7,500 and asked them if they had other receipts?
No, if you decide to raise the limit, I will get back to them.
You will get back
Yeah.
to them? Okay. That would be my only concern.
Yeah, no, that would be the only right thing to do, and I don't have a problem with raising it if we're getting limited people putting in for this, and we've got the money to give to businesses. to
Yeah,
help them out.
absolutely. I mean, it's
Sounds
not
good.
our
You know.
money. We can't keep it.
We're
in
doing
there.
our part, and it's just up to
Absolutely.
them to do their part by turning in their appropriate paperwork, so we can at
Sounds
least
good.
help them, is what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. So that's an opportunity for us to help them, so. Do I have a motion to extend the September 18th to September 18th and raise the limit on the funding to whatever, whoever makes the motion wants to make it?
I'll make that motion that we extend the deadline to September 18th and raise the limit on the funding to 15,000.
I'll second that.
Okay? We have a motion by Keith, seconded by Diane. Is there any other questions or concerns? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 8B, 2021 budget, September 3rd, 2020 workshop, 5 o'clock tomorrow.
That's as you just said, the budget workshop is tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. We're going to hear the budget from the department heads. Well, you generally do the public safety first, fire, ambulance, police, and we get Sarah, then Public Works, and myself last for everything else. And the finance committee actually met on it yesterday. They gave me some updates, which I put in there. I was going to have your packets for you tonight, and I am binder challenged with the binding machine. So we'll get those bound up in the morning. If anybody wants to pick them up earlier, you know, you can. Otherwise, we'll have them for at the meeting and when we go through them. So just kind of information only.
Did they receive anything by email, the other members?
I haven't sent it out to them email. I'll do that as well.
Okay,
I'll probably send them out to you email in the morning, and then you'll have a paper copy when you get here if you want.
right. At least gives you a chance to
To
see
preview.
it, preview it before you come into the meeting. Okay, new business, 2021-2025 capital improvement plan.
So the 2021 budget that you're going to receive has improvements or capital improvements included in that, but moving forward from there, the plan, the 5-year capital improvement plan does need some work and improvement. And because of trying to figure out new lifespans of equipment and how we use our equipment, there's quite a bit of that. And then also we have the road side of it. I don't know if the council wanted to meet all together on something like that, or if you want to send that to operations committee to go through that. It doesn't have to be done right away because we already have 2021 capital projects included in our 2021 budget. But moving forward, where we're going from here, I think it needs some work, and that in addition of revising the useful life of our capital assets for the depreciation purposes. So it's kind of something to think about, you know, and generally it goes to operations committee and it gets adopted by the city council, but this might be a time that the whole city council wants to chime in. So you guys just give that some thought, and at another meeting, we'll talk about that on how you want to move forward.
Okay, any questions or concerns about that?
I'll probably have the operations committee meet in January, I think would be good.
Excellent idea.
How did I
know
picture
your
that
reasoning,
happening?
Keith. I know your reasoning.
Give you time to think about it.
Okay, consent agenda. We have schedule of claims, unpaid claims of $48,807.38 for a total of the same amount. We have gambling application for exempt permit request from Pumpkins and Monkeys Nursery School for a raffle on October 25th, 2020 at the Holy Family School. Is there any questions or concerns about the consent calendar? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Keith, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Informational items.
Just have one additional informational items. The airport, joint airport zoning board meeting is, second meeting is September 9th at 2020 at 5 PM, so that's next Wednesday. And last week, we had the public hearing. They adjourned the public hearing, but they did not take action. They're going to be reconvening on September 9th. So if you want to come and listen, it's kind of interesting. We've brought a lot of members of the public that, you know, weren't really aware that this was a thing because they purchased the property sometime between now and 1979, so weren't aware that it existed. So now that we're actually updating it, it's fun. I don't know what else to say about that.
Any questions about that? That brings us to the end of our agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Heidi. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Meeting adjourned.